Let's come back to South Africa now. The Minister of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development has announced a decision to suspend all movement of cattle in South Africa in an attempt to stop the spread of foot and mouth disease.
The spread of the foot and mouth disease is happening at unexpected rates. So we were initially managing it through other scientific means. But as you know, we've got one in KZN and followed by Limpopo. And those we have in the main been able to manage with vaccination and with other scientific principles. But lately we've got an outbreak that is a big one in the Free State and Gauteng and Northwest provinces. And this warranted that we take this drastic but necessary step.
Mm-hmm. How long is the suspension for, and what are the intricacies of that suspension? How does it work?
At the moment we've put the ban on the movement of all cloven hooven, but specifically cattle for a period of 21 days. The intention is to during these 21 days manage and to be able to conduct the thorough surveillances so that we are able to isolate those that would in these 21 days be showing symptoms of the disease, and so that we know where we're standing and what is the extent, the magnitude of the outbreak. So that's what we're going to do. And there's the different angles and intricacies from different angles. One is that we don't want at the same time to have a negative effect on the supply of beef in the country. That's one part. But also there are other, we took note of possible intricacies like funerals and weddings and cultural rituals. And we've made exemptions for those. And so we would allow for instance, much as we have proclaimed the standstill, we would still allow through the facilitation of our veterinary officials on the ground, would allow slaughter for consumption as a result of during cultural events or weddings and funerals. But at the same time, we also allow direct movement of cattle from one area to slaughter, only those that are going for slaughter at abattoirs, because with this we know that they are not returning. So once they get to the abattoir, they will be slaughtered. So the risk of them being infected or infecting others is zero. So those are the exceptions that we're making. But we hope that within these 21 days, we shall have been able to contain the outbreak and we'll be able to lift. We actually are hoping to lift it earlier.
Just talk to me about the effect that this will have on the cattle and other industry, and as the department, what steps, if any, are you implementing to mitigate those negative effects?
Like I said, we knew that this ban would automatically have a huge effect on the economies of, basically on the economy of the country as far as the trade in livestock is concerned. Hence, we chose to have it for 21 days. Ordinarily, in fact, scientifically, we're supposed to have done it longer, but we're hoping with these 21 days we'll be able to control and contain it. The other obvious effect would be on the supply of meat, especially red meat in the country. Hence, we are allowing the slaughter process to continue, and we are allowing once-off importation to continue. That is, those that would be coming to the abattoirs and to feedlots, once-off movement would allow. This will ensure that during these 21 days, we then monitor the livestock that would be in those facilities, and thereafter we should be able to, by the time we open, we should be able to get back to normal. There are enough stocks at the moment of meat. So 21 days is really not, we shouldn't even be worried about whether the price of meat is going to be affected and all of that. But the only effect, of course, will be for those that are making their businesses out of auctions and those that are making their business out of feedlots. And obviously those communal farmers who would sell one or two cows to the auctions, those would be affected. But we think 21 days is not too long, so we should be able to recover.
All right, you spoke a little bit earlier on about how the suspension may even be lifted earlier on. Talk to me about what determines the time frame, because you're saying you're not following the scientific time, you're making it actually shorter at 21 days. So what would need to happen for the department to decide if they extend or lift the suspension?
Okay, just a quick correction. It is still scientific that 21 days because the disease has an incubation period, but let's not even confuse your viewers going to that science. But what we say is we ordinarily you would have it for longer, so that during that time you're allowing for all those that would have been affected or infected to show symptoms, and then you separate them from the others. Then you would know where you stand. But what we're doing here, we already have started, especially in Limpopo. We are already containing the ones in Limpopo and Northwest. Now we need to deal with the outbreaks in Free State, and also to ensure that the Free State does not spill over to Lesotho. As you know, Free State is central. You don't want it to also spill over into other provinces. So what we're doing at the moment is that in order for us to determine whether we're lifting it earlier, is we will be observing during these 21 days whether we are able to contain it. Because remember, if we had just allowed it like we've done, allowed movement of livestock, cattle to happen, we wouldn't be able to take stock of where we are, we wouldn't be able to control and also intervene if needs be. So at the moment, we know that during the standstill, we would be able to focus on Free State, for instance, which we're going to be doing that, focus on KZN and focus on the hotspot so that we isolate those and we manage them. So that period would allow us to then take stock of where we would still have symptoms happening and where we would still be having other outbreaks. And thereafter, we then make a determination. So coming back to your question, as soon as we are comfortable that we've been able to isolate and contain the outbreak, we would then lift the ban.
All right, wool producers are said to be concerned about restrictions from China. They're saying that their products are safe. What interventions are you implementing, if any, as the department to address specifically those concerns from wool producers?
From wool producers, you said?
Yes.
The effect, as you would know, wool is from sheep. Sheep being the part of the cloven hoof, part of the split hoof. So the China is well, I wouldn't say necessarily banned, but China is one of our prime markets for wool. Yes. Has suspended our export of wool to them because of this extent, because of the foot and mouth disease in cattle, because you know these are related. So what are we doing? Part of this complete standstill is to also be able to assure our markets, China in this specific case, to assure them that we are actually of this standstill would actually benefit the export of not only wool but also with other meat and meat products. So what we're doing now is they shouldn't be concerned. Yes, there are as far as the safety. You mentioned safety. There aren't any safety concerns as far as meat is concerned. But I think the challenge or the question should rather be about whether the effect of this ban would also give positive spin-offs on the export. And the answer to that is yes, because the whole world is watching us. It's watching what we're doing. And if our markets are satisfied with the control measures that we're putting to place, they would then be able to relax their current suspensions of meat products from South Africa.
All right. Dipepenene Serage from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development joining us there to just give us some insight on that suspension of movement of cattle and the foot and mouth disease outbreak. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News.